I'm going to call to order this work session of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, January 31st, 2024. We have one item, Mr. Smith, ordinance 2024-05, U-Haul rezone.
All right, good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. I believe this is my first time presenting to all three of you, so no pressure, right? I do get the luxury of seeing Julie from time to time, so it is nice to see all three of you here. So without further ado, if I can share my screen here. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Can you enlarge the print just a little bit, Sean?
Yes.
Because the screen we see it from is, yeah, a few feet away from us.
That is good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is a rezone request presented by U-Haul. So this concerns two properties at 3274 and 3300 West Profile Parkway. So for reference, that is in the Pinnacle Business Park Major Subdivision, Final Plat Amendment 1. So it concerns more or less 12.84 acres. And it is currently in the general industrial zone. So U-Haul is proposing a rezone from general industrial to general business. And I can kind of go through some background on this request. So in September of 2023, a use determination was submitted to planning staff to determine if U-Haul would fit within a permitted use at these specific properties. So in that use determination, staff did determine that U-Haul would actually fall under two uses, that being automotive rentals and convenience storage uses. So there is a multi-use category, and that is called business or industrial center, and that kind of serves as the umbrella term for both uses. So that would permit this particular site, if it was successfully rezoned to general business, to allow for both of these uses on this property. So general industrial is a zone that is in the Chapter 833 set of zoning districts, and Chapter 833 does not have convenience storage as a permitted use. And the automotive rentals is not a permitted use in the general industrial zone. So essentially, planning staff recommended that the petitioners file for a rezone request with the planning department, and had determined that the GB zone, the general business zone, would allow for the type of use that they are proposing at this site. And then kind of going through, I do have some exhibits of what those different use tables look like for each zone. So in the IG zone, the general industrial zone, we do have a specific set of uses that are allowed here. And if you may have noticed that in the packet, when compared to general business zones, it's very significant. General business zones allows for a much greater variety of uses than general industrial zones do. As you can see here on the screen, just kind of going through some of the pages here, it's quite significant. But in any case, every zone does have design standards. So in the general industrial zone, you might notice that they have a little bit more strict standards when it comes to development, such as like setbacks and minimum lot width and maximum building coverage. But when compared to general business does have a not as strict design standards, as you can see here on the screen. And I'm totally happy to go through any of these more in depth if the commissioners would like. This is just kind of referencing where the location is and some site conditions map, current zoning map. So much of this area is currently zoned for industrial uses, but most of the surrounding area is currently vacant and undeveloped. So this would be, if they successfully rezone to a general business zone, it would be kind of an island, I guess you could say, when compared to the surrounding zones, at least in our jurisdiction. I do have some CDO zoning, the County Development Ordinance zoning, which doesn't have updated parcels, but does kind of hint at what we're asking for in the future, which is, I believe, heavy industrial areas. As far as development goes for this site, there aren't necessarily any environmental concerns that we are concerned with. There is an EPA easement that exists along this western site here, this western property known as Lot 6. But having looked at the conceptual site plan that U-Haul provided, I don't believe that this would be an issue for development. I can go through some comprehensive plan discussions. So in phase 1 of the comprehensive plan, this area is designated as mixed use. So in summary, mixed use does allow for greater flexibility of development at this site. And planning staff does believe that based on the information provided by U-Haul, that this does fit the comprehensive plan use. And there is a phase 2 to the comprehensive plan, and it is in the west side development. And essentially in a nutshell, what this is stating is that it's intended to be for like existing office and industrial flex buildings, and to accommodate the infill and redevelopment of these uses or in these areas. And a lot of that concerns like commercial development, office building development, and that sort of thing. And planning staff does believe, also based on what U-Haul has provided, that their use would fit within those criteria. And see if I'm forgetting anything here. These are just some photos of the site itself. So it's relatively flat on both sides. So I believe that this existing drive kind of goes through the middle of both properties. So what you're seeing is 2 properties being presented in these photos. But I do want to kind of go back up here and discuss some things that were brought up at the Redevelopment Commission. So this petition was taken to the Redevelopment Commission for their input. And essentially, to summarize the general conversation that occurred, the RDC would prefer an employer that offers higher wages, has aesthetically pleasing views, and employs a lot of people. However, the RDC did not see an issue with the rezone to GB, and would ultimately like to see the property put to use rather than currently sitting vacant. And I included some comments from the RDC members as well. And that is pretty much the entirety of this presentation.
All right, thank
Do the
you.
commissioners have questions?
Thank you so much, Mr. Smith. We appreciate you,
Yeah.
and thanks again for your patience of waiting so long for the work session to begin. I will note that the reason the Plan Review Committee, which I'm a member of, asked the Redevelopment Commission to consider this petition is because this is supposed to be an industrial area. And this is sort of a retail/commercial development. Is this really the best use of this property? And I honestly was a bit surprised by their response, that they think that it's better to have something there than nothing. Yeah, that was an interesting development for me. So comments, questions for Mr. Smith. Commissioner Githens?
What was the vote by the Plan Commission on this?
The vote by the Plan Commission was 7-0 to forward a positive recommendation to the county commissioners.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I didn't get a chance to look at this until awfully late, since there were problems getting our information.
All right, when would you like to hear this item again?
Anytime next month.
In a couple weeks?
How do you all feel about I don't know, tomorrow, next week is, you said a couple weeks, so next week is too soon.
No, that'd be okay.
Okay. All right. If you can get it on our agenda for February 7th, that would be 7th, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And in the meantime, if anybody has questions, you can contact Mr. Smith directly. All right. Anything else for the work session? All right.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Enough.
We have. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.